Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, February 19th of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Allegheny County Police have confirmed on Tuesday that Mark Fogel, who was released last week from a Russian prison, has landed in Pittsburgh after a 14-year prison sentence. In August of 2021, Fogel was detained after his family noted that he was possessing 17 grams of cannabis. Fogel wanted to treat the chronic pain in his back with the cannabis for medical reasons. Fogel's family wants the public to give him some private time as he returns to the United States. Columbia Gas and the NiSource Charitable Foundation teamed up to host an event for Girl Scouts in Western Pennsylvania called Introduce a Girl to STEAM on Monday. Around 20 Girl Scouts from grades 4 through 8 were given challenges in teams to discover careers in science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. The girls also saw a panel and experimented at stations for demonstrations. The event was held at the Monaca Centers for Columbia Gas Operations and Training. Our Act Theater Productions will present Up and Away for only one weekend at the Sagriff Stage in Rochester. Local playwright Thomas B. Andrews wrote this play, which stars Dave Joseph as George, who remembers his time as Mr. Super. George then gets left behind by his daughter Chelsea, who struggles with the guilt of abandoning him. Showtimes are 7:30 p.m. on February 27th, February 28th, and March 1st, and at 2 p.m. on March 2nd. You can access the link to purchase tickets at ouractproductions.com. According to a release from State Representative Aaron Bernstein's office, Bernstein was appointed to serve as chairman of the Subcommittee on Workers' Compensation and Worker Protection for the 2025-2026 legislative session. Bernstein will look at problems related to policies, safety of Pennsylvania workers, and workers' compensation laws in his new position. Bernstein will also try to improve the workers' compensation system in Pennsylvania by evaluating policies. A recent report reveals that the Shell petrochemical plant in Beaver County has failed to deliver the promised economic benefits since its announcement more than a decade ago. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
New findings from the Ohio River Valley Institute reveals the plastic plant hasn't brought the economic boom and promised jobs haven't materialized. Eric DePlace with Ohio River Valley Institute says Beaver County's economy has performed worse than Pennsylvania as a whole, as well as the nation and even its own past benchmarks.
Its economic performance is actually declining over time. Since Shell announced that plant, what's happened is they've lost population, they've lost GDP, they've lost jobs, they've lost businesses.
The place points out local residents were promised an economic renaissance with thousands of jobs and increased tax revenue when Shell built its petrochemical plant, leading Pennsylvania to give the company $1.6 billion in subsidies. He says it's important for community members to demand accountability and question why Shell continues to receive taxpayer support.
The Pennsylvania Game Commission is making both a database and a certification for master hunters that is optional. This will help people with property to know whether the hunter will show respect for the animals in the wild and the land itself. A program for hunting education will also be held where people must have no violations of game laws to be eligible. The topics that the program will teach will be respecting lines of property, ethics in hunting, and safely hunting around homes. Officials say schools are closed and residents have been ordered to shelter in place after a large fire broke out at an aerospace manufacturer's facility in a town north of Philadelphia. Abington Township Police say the fire broke out at SPS Technologies in Jenkintown on Monday night. Witnesses said there was an explosion and flames could be seen inside. Police say the building was evacuated, all employees were accounted for, and no injuries were reported. SPS Technologies describes itself as a developer, manufacturer, and global supplier of a line of aerospace fasteners and precision components. Schools in the area were closed and will remain shuttered Wednesday.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly cloudy skies today. We'll see a high near 21. Increasing clouds tonight with a chance of snow through the overnight. We'll drop down to a low around 11. Breezy tomorrow with snow showers likely throughout the day and evening. Look for a high near 21 and a low around 16. Cloudy on Friday will reach a high near 26 and a low around 14. And sunshine in the forecast for Saturday. We can expect a high of 34 and a low of 21. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, February 19th of 2025, at 10 minutes after 9, we've got a temperature of 12 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
And Eddie has the day off today. It has nothing to do with Dale Reckless being here and Eddie being a guinea pig for Dale, as he is every month. But Dale, by gosh, Reckless, it's 11 years you've been doing the show here on Beaver County Radio. Congratulations for that. I remember doing this back in the day when you had hair.
I don't think it was that long ago. For those that know me, it's been quite a while since I had any hair. But yeah, we've been doing this show for 11 years here. MRS Physical Therapy has been coming out and educating the people in Beaver County about different topics, and it's been a lot of fun. And
you've grown a lot since that. I don't mean physically. I'm talking about business-wise, because when you started, you just had the place in Bridgewater.
That's right.
Now you're doing all kind of things.
We've added another facility out in Cranberry Township. That's Cranberry Physical Therapy. And by the way, that office was just voted best physical therapy clinic in Cranberry Township. So I'm very proud of that because there's a lot of competition out there. So yeah, we have the two clinics, MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy out in Cranberry Township now.
Yeah, and I've listened to the show over the course of time with you and Eddie, and I know you've brought in different people from time to time, different aspects of physical therapy.
Yep, we've brought in. We've had guests that come in. We've had doctors that have come in and help do the show with us. We've had ENTs come in. We've had foot doctors come in. I'm always, open to having different people come in to really the best opportunity to educate the local community about what they have in their community available to them and how they can take advantage of some of the best medical practitioners in the area that we work with.
It's been wonderful, and you have a large audience, a large following. What you do at MRS Physical Therapy. And I just want to put this disclaimer out at the beginning of the show, Dale, that I declined to be your guinea pig today because, and it's only because of I know how big your audience is and how huge your following is. And I didn't want them to turn off the show when you exposed my feet. Okay. And I have this genetic thing, my whole family, and my wife would just be in horror if she knew I was exposing my feet, my bare feet on the. If I could keep my socks on, that's one thing. But you said, no, I need you to take your socks off. So.
Yeah, we're looking at the hands and the feet today. So most people don't really like the looks of their feet, but completely understand. But we do have another guinea pig that I won't say he volunteered, but we will have some show and tell today. So if you're able to watch in on our Facebook Live feed, you'll get some visuals in addition to what you're listening to on the radio today.
That's great. So what's going on?
So today we're talking about, I wasn't really sure how to title the show. It's called The Master Athlete, but that's maybe a little bit of a misnomer because people think about master athletes and think about older people that run marathons or in the Olympics and things like that. But when I talk about the master athlete, I talk about people that are older but still like to be active and maybe even competitive. So the master athlete is anyone that's over the age of 40 years old and participates in any kind of a sport or activity more than 10 hours a week. That sport or activity could be running, it could be cycling, could be playing tennis, could be swimming, or the biggest one nowadays is playing pickleball.
I thought you were going to say pickleball.
So really a lot of this talk today talks about those that want to be active after the age of 40 and things that you should be identifying to make sure you stay healthy and active. So when you're participating in this sport, you're not getting injured. So this is really about preventative measures, things you can do as you are aging to make sure you're staying strong, flexible, active, so you can participate in whatever sport it is that you like to continue to do. For some people, that's, they just want to continue to swim. Some people, running's been their thing, or cycling. So we're going to kind of pick apart some of those individual sports. But really overall, especially with the testing demos that we're going to do today, we're going to look at how do we identify how your body's changing as you age. So research has shown that everything in our body slows down as we get older. Everyone recognizes their eyes slow down because at some point you feel, all of a sudden you need readers, and then you need glasses, and progressive lenses and things like that. But that's something that because you're required to do that and pay attention to it every day when you're reading, ingredients or whatever you're reading, for leisure. But a lot of people don't think about the other systems in their body that slow down as you age. For example, the vestibular system, that's your inner ear, that's your balance system. That slows down as you age. And most people that listen to my show know that I do a lot of things with vestibular rehab, strengthening up that vestibular system once it starts to get weak, or people that get dizzy, which is part of the aging process. We fix that at MRS Physical Therapy too. And then the musculoskeletal system, the cardiovascular system, the sensory system, all those things slow down as we age. But there are tests that I can do at MRS Physical Therapy to identify if they're slowing down, how fast they're slowing down, and if there's indeed something you need to do about that slowing down process to reverse the process. There's some things that as we age are irreversible, right? So more times than not, the visual things, losing our vision and things like that, that's for the most part irreversible unless it's, getting cataracts so you can get fixed or something like that. But you starting to lose that sense of vision, that's irreversible. There's also some things in our nervous system that are irreversible as well. As we age, some of the nervous system stuff slows down, and there are certain parts that are irreversible. But on the good news, on the other hand, there are many things that are reversible, things that we can do something about. So, for example, our muscle mass starts to change, and we start to lose muscle mass at the age of 30. For every decade after the age of 30, our muscle mass decreases 8%. At the age of 70, for every decade after that, our muscle mass decreases 15% every decade. And so that's something we can do something about with proper training. And you have to have an awareness of what proper training means, because it's more than just walking. A lot of people think, as long as I get my 10,000 steps in, I'm maintaining what my body needs. And that's a part of it, but it's not true, because you need more than that. You need to do resistance training, and you need to work specifically on the muscle mass and really what we call the power. Your muscle power is more important than your muscle strength as you age to maintain your function. And we're going to do a couple tests today, and that you can do along with us at home to identify, are you starting to lose that muscle power? Are you starting to lose that strength? And then we'll talk about things we can do about it, because really what we're talking about is maintaining your overall functional ability as we age. And not everyone has a goal to, run a marathon or even a half marathon. For some things, it's just as simple as maintaining your balance and safety so you don't become a fall risk. Being able to get up out of a chair safely, that's muscle power. Getting up out of a chair is muscle power. It's not strength, it's power. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
All right, very good. So go to the cabinet, get out a jar of pickles, see if you can take the lid off of that jar of pickles, right?
Boy, that's a tough one. My wife still comes to me and says, "Can you open this up for me?" I just can't get it. And fortunately, I still can, because there'll be the day when she hands me something, I'm like, man, I can't get it either. And that's going to be a frustrating day for sure, right? That's probably happened to a lot of us as we age. You realize that things are harder to open up. Like, why do they make these jars so hard to open? Mm-hmm. Or the medicine jars. Why is it so hard for me to open up the medicine jar? Things like that get more frustrating. Or, reading the back of the dosage on a medicine bottle, like the writings, I swear the writing's getting smaller. Right. It's not my eyes that are getting worse, right? That writing has to be getting smaller. Yeah. So these things we think about as we get older, like they must be making the jars harder to open. Mm-hmm. Or is it that we're losing some strength that we need to pay attention to?
Well, we're not going to admit to that, but we'll get your experiment volunteer coming in here in just a couple of minutes and continue the show with Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy.
Can the card you carry really change your life? It can, when it's a low-rate Freedom United Federal Credit Union fixed-rate Visa card. This is Pat Tervail, and I'm the lady in the loan department with the big scissors. No, silly. I'm not doing haircuts, but I am going to use those shears to cut up those nasty high-rate store charge cards you're carrying around. Why, you ask? Because you won't be needing those cards anymore after you take advantage of Freedom United's low 6.99% rate balance transfer special. Good for a limited time on new money transfers to a Freedom United Visa card with approved credit. Potential money saved on lower monthly payments really can be life-changing and potentially put more freedom in your future. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Your success is our success. own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Looking for an elevated dining experience with a lively bar atmosphere? Jackson's Restaurant and Bar in Monaca is your go-to destination. Join Jackson's for Thursday Night Live, featuring top-notch local music. At Jackson's, they serve modern American cuisine with a fresh flair. Perfect for lunch, dinner, and now Sunday brunch from 10 to 2, plus Sunday dinner from 2 to 6. Located near the Beaver Valley Mall, adjacent to the Hilton Garden Inn, Jackson's is the perfect venue for your next wedding, bridal shower, birthday, or anniversary. Visit jacksonsbeavervalley.com for details.
Looking for that special home or wanting to sell yours? Let the Lisa Latham team, brokered by eXp Realty, help you. Hi, I'm Tank Latham, and our goal is to make you feel comfortable whether buying or selling. Lisa and I strive to make the process as smooth and as easy as possible. We invite you to visit the all-new eXp office located at 926 3rd Avenue, New Brighton. Give us a call at 724-307-5472. Check out Beaver County home inventory on our website, lisalatham.com. The Lisa Latham team, results that move you.
We have Art Cornell here from the Beaver Cemetery and Mausoleum. Art, what's new at the cemetery?
We've just completed a new addition to the mausoleum with above-ground burial crypts, indoor and outdoor niches, and family areas. The Beaver Mausoleum advantages include no plot maintenance, the convenience of a heated and air-conditioned building for visitation, and an adjoining private chapel. It's a perfect final resting place for your loved ones.
Thanks, Art. Beaver Cemetery and Mausoleum, serving all of Beaver County since 1865.
Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
It is the Dale Reckless MRS Physical Therapy Hour. He comes in once a month on Wednesdays. What is it, the fourth Wednesday of every month? Third Wednesday of every month? Mm-hmm. Okay, and here he is today. And we're talking about sensitivity. We're talking about maintaining our strength through the ages, difference between when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, and all the way up till 70. We have a young man with us this morning, though, that's going to work with you on some of the testing that you have for us.
Yeah, hopefully Gary will pass all these tests today. With Eddie not being here, he might not have passed all the tests. He lucked out today, because when I plan my show, I envision what I'm going to do to Eddie today, to be fair. So, but Gary, I think you'll do okay with these tests. But what we're going to demonstrate today is some of the things we do at MRS Physical Therapy to measure the changes in your body that occur as you age. And the value of this is to look at the areas that are changing in your body and to identify a proper exercise program that's going to help either slow down the progression or in many cases reverse the progression of some of the things that have happened to your body as you age. These things will happen automatically. So starting at the age of 30, most of our senses slow down in some way. So as you get older, especially when you get into your 50s, 60s, 70s, these are important things to pay attention to as a physical therapist to identify a proper exercise program for you to maintain your functional ability, or if you have a specific goal, exercise-wise to help you maintain your ability to do that. Some people want to continue to bicycle or swim or play pickleball or whatever it is. And we do end up seeing a lot of injuries in these areas, and those that continue to participate in activities like that. I think because attention has not been paid to areas of flexibility that have started to get tight or weak, or sensory changes that have occurred over the course of time. So Gary's a champion here because he's willingly is a strong word, but he's said okay to showing his foot on air today. Mm-hmm. So if you are able to tune into our Facebook Live feed, we are live on Facebook, and you're going to see the visuals, and I'll also give a verbal explanation of what we're doing as we go along here. And so what we're going to look at first is sensory changes that happen in your body.
And luckily, Gary's only in his 20s, so he doesn't.
I wish I was still in my 20s.
So what we use is, if you're watching online, these are called Semmes-Weinstein filaments, and some of you may have had a doctor do this, and we do this in a physical therapy clinic. And there are 6 different filaments here, and each one has a different amount of resistance to it. So it's hard to see because this one almost looks like a thread, the lightest one, and we use this to measure sensory changes. So it goes from a very low level to a much thicker level, where just about anyone should be able to feel this thicker one because it's almost like a straw. It's so firm. And so what we do is these Semmes-Weinstein filaments have associated a certain amount of grams of force associated with them. And when we apply this to a certain part of the foot, it helps us identify whether you're starting to get sensory changes in your foot, which could indicate things like peripheral neuropathy. So many people, as they age, they've heard that term, peripheral neuropathy. That is the decrease of sensation associated with nerve changes in your body.
Well, you know what, Dale? I used to have a voodoo doll, and they had needles just about as long as that. Get ready, Gary.
Well, I promise there's no poking and no blood will be flowing through here today. But for the protocol that we use for peripheral neuropathy, we use one that has 10 grams of force, and we use something called the LEAP protocol, which is, it sounds kind of scary, but it's the lower extremity amputee protocol, because it's used to identify people that have peripheral neuropathy and might have the likelihood of losing a limb because they don't have good enough sensation. And what happens a lot of times with people that have amputations is they don't feel the sensory changes underneath their foot. I've had amputees that stepped on something. They didn't know they stepped on something, and it caused a wound. That wound got infected, and before they knew it, they had to lose their lower leg because of it. So this is called the LEAP protocol, and we put this 10 grams of force on 9 different points on the bottom of the foot. And the person that I'm doing this to will tell me, where they feel the sensation, or if they don't feel the sensation, then that's a positive outcome because they did not feel the sensation. So, Gary, I'm going to have you throw your leg up on the table here. So if you're watching at home, Gary's throwing his foot up, and I'm applying this filament to the bottom of his foot in 9 different areas. And so I'm going to put this on your arm first so you know what it's going to feel like. Okay?
Ow! Yep.
So that's what it feels like. No blood going here. Okay, so I'm applying 1 point on his, can you tell me where that is?
It's on my heel.
So he feels that on his heel, okay? And I just push it hard enough so it has a slight bend. So that's indicative to me that he's got good sensation there and he feels that. How about that one there?
Yeah, it's like mid-foot kind of. It moved up a couple
on the inside, yeah.
Inside there,
and now?
on the outside.
Okay. Then we move up to the foot a little bit more.
Yep, that's like right behind my big toe.
Right. Okay, good.
Yep, that's right in about the middle of the foot behind the toes.
Right. And I push this in certain spots just hard enough so that the filament bends. And that's indicative of how much sensation you should have in that spot. You feel anything there?
Easily feel it there, yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to go to some more spots here.
Yep, big toe, it feels
so
like.
So now we're on the big toe, yep.
Like my third toe down.
Yep, the middle toe there.
And the pinky toe.
And the pinky toe. So Gary passed.
We call that the little piggy.
Gary passed. Yep, little piggy. Where'd the little piggy go?
Yeah, he went to market.
So
he went wee all the way home, didn't he?
Wee all the way home. So Gary,
physical therapy.
You passed my test 100%. You can take your foot down because I know it's a little bit uncomfortable for you having your foot up there.
But that's a mighty fine looking foot.
So that is using the Semmes filament here, Weinstein filament. That gives indication of whether a patient is starting to develop peripheral neuropathy. So some patients might feel some of them, but not all of them. Some patients might not feel anything at all. But that 10 grams of force that I'm using with this Semmes-Weinstein filament is the indicator of the start of losing some having some sensory changes secondary to nerve changes as you age. And why that's important, not only that's the start of education for a patient that they'll want to think about, wearing shoes around the house all the time so they're not accidentally stepping on something. I've had patients that stepped on a Lego, never knew that Lego was embedded in their foot. That's how bad their sensation was. Obviously, then became infected, became an amputee because of that. I used to run an amputee program, so I have a lot of amputee stories that are gruesome. You don't want to hear all those, but it's a good start for education. But also, when you have peripheral neuropathy and you start to lose that sensation in your feet, that significantly affects your balance as well, and it increases your likelihood of being a fall risk. Mm-hmm. So using the Semmes-Weinstein filaments, it's a very simple test, but it gives us a lot of good information for what we need to, how we need to work with our patient related to fall risk prevention and safety and things like that.
Now, Dale, is that going to be different if a person has calluses or corns on their feet?
That's true, yep. So if someone has a callus or a corn on their foot, then we need to, take that into account, that they're not going to have good sensation where that callus or cornea is, obviously, because that's a buildup of tissue there that's going to not have normal sensory feedback. So we'll work around that area, so we're still getting generally the same area and have a good outcome for that testing.
Okay, very good. We have to take a news break at this point. When we come back, Dale, you're going to amputate a couple of Dare's toes.
I did not bring my scalpel.
All right, Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy Hour on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, February 19th of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Allegheny County Police have confirmed on Tuesday that Mark Fogel, who was released last week from a Russian prison, has landed in Pittsburgh after a 14-year prison sentence. In August of 2021, Fogel was detained after his family noted that he was possessing 17 grams of cannabis. Fogel wanted to treat the chronic pain in his back with the cannabis for medical reasons. Fogel's family wants the public to give him some private time as he returns to the United States. Columbia Gas and the NiSource Charitable Foundation teamed up to host an event for Girl Scouts in Western Pennsylvania called Introduce a Girl to STEAM on Monday. Around 20 Girl Scouts from grades 4 through 8 were given challenges in teams to discover careers in science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. The event was held at the Monaca Centers for Columbia Gas Operations and Training. Our Act Theater Productions will present Up and Away for only one weekend at the Sagriff Stage in Rochester. Local playwright Thomas B. Andrews wrote this play, which stars Dave Joseph as George, who remembers his time as Mr. Super. George then gets left behind by his daughter Chelsea, who struggles with the guilt of abandoning him. Showtimes are 7:30 p.m. on February 27th, February 28th, and March 1st, and at 2 p.m. on March 2nd. You can access the link to purchase tickets at ouractproductions.com. According to a release from State Representative Aaron Bernstein's office, Bernstein was appointed to serve as chairman of the Subcommittee on Workers' Compensation and Worker Protection for the 2025-2026 legislative session. Bernstein will look at problems related to policies, safety of Pennsylvania workers, and workers' compensation laws in his new position. Bernstein will also try to improve the workers' compensation system in Pennsylvania by evaluating policies. A recent report reveals that the Shell petrochemical plant in Beaver County has failed to deliver the promised economic benefits since its announcement more than a decade ago. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
New findings from the Ohio River Valley Institute reveals the plastic plant hasn't brought the economic boom and promised jobs haven't materialized. Eric DePlace with Ohio River Valley Institute says Beaver County's economy has performed worse than Pennsylvania as a whole, as well as the nation and even its own past benchmarks.
Its economic performance is actually declining over time. Since Shell announced that plant, what's happened is they've lost population, they've lost GDP, they've lost jobs, they've lost businesses.
The place points out local residents were promised an economic renaissance with thousands of jobs and increased tax revenue when Shell built its petrochemical plant, leading Pennsylvania to give the company $1.6 billion in subsidies. He says it's important for community members to demand accountability and question why Shell continues to receive taxpayer support.
According to a release from Acrisure Stadium, Monster Jam will make its Acrisure Stadium debut on May 17, 2025. The event begins at 5 p.m. along with a pit party where guests can see the trucks and get introduced to the drivers from 12:30 to 3:30 p.m. A pass and event ticket are both required for the pit party. Ticketmaster has tickets and passes for the pit party available now for the event. The crash of a passenger jet that flipped while landing in Toronto, Canada, is raising questions about not only cause of the accident, but also the safety of flying. The crash was the fourth major aviation accident in North America in the past 3 weeks. All 80 people on board the Delta Airlines flight from Minneapolis that flipped Monday survived. Authorities said Tuesday that 2 people remain in the hospital while 19 others were treated for relatively minor injuries. Communications between the tower and pilot were normal on approach. Right now, it's not clear what went wrong.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly cloudy skies today. We'll see a high near 21. Increasing clouds tonight with a chance of snow through the overnight. We'll drop down to a low around 11. Breezy tomorrow with snow showers likely throughout the day and evening. Look for a high near 21 and a low around 16. Cloudy on Friday will reach a high near 26 and a low around 14. And sunshine in the forecast for Saturday. We can expect a high of 34 and a low of 21. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
When the weather turns bad, you can now do two things. First, tune to Beaver County Radio for the latest cancellation announcements, and second, go to beavercountyradio.com and access our all-new closings and delays widget that is active anytime that there are weather-related events. If snow's got you covered, so do we at Beaver County Radio. Beaver County Radio social media and beavercountyradio.com. Snow Watch is presented by Monroe Auto Body, the Lisa Latham team at eXp Realty, the cornerstone of Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
And the cold wind still blows. We're expecting cold temperatures until at least Saturday when we get above freezing. Right now, we're warming things up with Dale Reckless. It's the MRS Physical Therapy Hour. Dale is the guest every third Wednesday of the month, and he's with us today. Gary is also in studio with us today because he's getting worked on here this morning, and he's not getting his nails polished or anything like that. Hi. Okay, Dale. So Gary passed that last test.
He passed the monofilament test, which was an indicator of whether or not peripheral neuropathy was something to be concerned about as far as that's what we're talking about today. Things that change as we age. Peripheral neuropathy is one of those things that starts to happen as we age, and we do called a monofilament test, which is what we demonstrated a couple minutes ago on 9 different points on the foot to see if it's an indication of the nerve changing, starting to lose sensation. When that is a concern, we start to look at exercises that will help decrease the risk of falling, because having peripheral neuropathy increases your risk of falling. The next thing we're going to talk about is sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass and strength as we age. Again, it's something happens as we age. There's a large percentage of the population that has sarcopenia.
Gary, have you ever had your sarcopenia checked?
I haven't had my sarcopenia checked. This will be the first time. It's the first time for everything.
Good.
15% of the people over the age of 60 are diagnosed, and 50% over the age of 80 of the age of 80-year-olds is diagnosed with sarcopenia. So that is the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength.
Ooh.
So a quick questionnaire I'm going to do for those listening in. If you have a pencil and paper at home, go and grab that now. I'm going to read off 5 different questions, and then you're going to score yourself. And this is going to be an indicator of whether you are likely developing sarcopenia. This is called the SARC-F questionnaire. It's a standard questionnaire for diagnosing sarcopenia. So the first question is, and each of these will be scored on a 0, 1, or 2. So you'll be answering either 0, 1, or 2 for yourself on this scale. At the end, we'll add it up, and I'll tell you how to score that results. So the first one is, how much difficulty do you have in lifting and carrying 10 pounds? So how much difficulty do you have in lifting and carrying 10 pounds? If you have no difficulty at all, then you score a 0. If you have some difficulty, you score a 1. If you have a lot or unable to lift 10 pounds, then you score a 2. The next question is assistance in walking. How much difficulty do you have walking across a room? None at all, that's a 0. Some difficulty walking across the room, and that's without using any assistive device, that's a 1. Or if you have a lot of difficulty, you have to use a walker, a cane, or you're unable to walk across a room, you score a 2. Rising from a chair. How much difficulty do you have transferring from a chair or a bed? No difficulty at all, that's a 0. Some difficulty, that's a 1. A lot or unable without help, that's a 2. And we're going to do another test in a minute that kind of works with that as well. Climbing stairs. How much difficulty do you have climbing a flight of 10 stairs? So no difficulty at all, that's a 0. Some difficulty, that's a 1. A lot or unable to climb a flight of 10 stairs, that's a 2. And the last question is falls. How many times have you fallen in the past year? No falls at all, that's a 0. Less than 3 falls, that's a 1. 4 or more falls, that's a 2. And so you're going to add up those numbers. And if you add up a score of 4 or greater, that's an indication that you need a further comprehensive evaluation, that there's an increase of likelihood that you're developing sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle power, muscle strength, and muscle mass.
Okay, so I'm in my 60s, right?
Yeah.
I got all zeros. But they say, I had a guy yesterday telling me, well, you know, what did he say? 87 is the new 40. But we always say that, you know, 60 is the new 40. Does that? I mean, we're going to live longer, obviously. Yeah. But does that make a difference when they say that? Are we being still active? 60-year-olds more active today than 60-year-olds were 30 years ago.
Yeah, I think the general population, we're staying more active as we age. But I think there's certainly still a lot of sedentary people that aren't active that are going to, you know, not be the 60 is the new 40 kind of thing. They're going to still be, you know, aging. And I see this a lot in my practice. You know, they're aging as they would have, you know, 40 years ago. But on the other side, you know, my dad's going to be 90 next week, and he stays very active. He exercises, goes to the gym every day. And, you know, he's pretty healthy guy, still gets around, you know, lives, you know, him and his, my mom, you know, live together on their own independently. So they do work very well. But the key to that is being active and staying active. And I think what's changed over the years is our awareness of what the importance and value of exercise is, and staying active, how important that is. And that would go to what you also hear is sitting is the new, you know, cancer, smoking kind of thing, you know. So, you know, just sitting around is, you know, the worst thing you can do. But being active, and that's really what we're talking about, how to stay active, whether it's a competitive active lifestyle or just being an active individual, what things you can do to identify that you're starting to, you get into that, things slowing down to a detrimental phase, meaning you're a fall risk and things like that, to what you can do to stay active and how we can prescribe an appropriate exercise program to combat that, reverse those changes, because some of these things are very reversible, to help you out in our physical therapy clinics.
All right. So what are you going to do with Gary now? So
the next thing we're going to do is a strength test. So I think Gary will do good on my strength test gauge here. So if you're watching online, I've got it's a strength gauge tester. I use these for both my athletes that I treat as well as my older individuals, because it's a good indication of issues with, could be anything in your body. So for my athletes, I use this to indicate whether they're starting to lose strength in their arm, if they're having, rotator cuff problems or elbow tendonitis problems and things like that, or carpal tunnel. For my older individuals, it's an indication of sarcopenia, loss of body mass, muscle mass, loss of strength. And so it's just a grip strength tester. So Gary, I'm just going to have you, you're going to grab this right here, and you're going to squeeze that as hard as you can.
Is that like one of those little quarter games you used to play in there?
So Gary came out with a phenomenal 121 pounds of force, which is well above the average.
He's a beast.
So for men and women have different indicators for strength. So for a man, he should be about 66 pounds of pressure. If he's starting to lose strength that I'm concerned about, then 66 pounds of force or below would be something to be concerned about. You want to do this, don't you, Mike?
Show us those guns. And I noticed you use your left hand, too. Are you left-handed?
No, I use my right hand.
Oh, did you use your right hand?
Yep,
okay.
Yeah. I'm right-handed.
Let's try your left hand, see if it's different on the left hand. Okay. And as would be expected, it was a little bit less than your right, because you are right-handed, but not much, 117 pounds of force. So strength-wise, Gary's doing fine. So, we kind of have a healthy guinea pig in here. I was hoping to do some of these things on Eddie, to be honest, but he must have gotten word I was coming in today with some toys that were going to show off his little piggy toes, and decided to take a day off. But Gary's a pretty young health. How old are you, Gary?
I'm 38.
Yeah, so Gary's under the age of 40. It's typically 40 and above is when we start to see some of these changes. So I wouldn't have expected to see much changes. I would have been really concerned if I did see any change with Gary. But these are some simple tests you can do at home. Mike's coming over because he wants to do the test here.
Okay, beat me, Mike. Come on, beat me.
Yeah. I got to use my left hand because I'm left-handed dominant.
Okay. There you go.
Ready?
So we got Mike on air right now, and he's doing the squeeze test. Go. Yep.
Oh, my God, that's tougher than I thought it was going to
be.
It is.
So, Mike, you're above average. You're at 73.
That's it.
So, 73 pounds of force. You didn't kill it. I don't know if I'd get into an arm wrestling match with Gary.
I know, right?
Don't be making bets over who's paying for lunch with arm wrestling or anything like that, because you're going to lose there, Mike. But, so, Mike, how old are you?
66.
So Mike's up in the older category. So
thank you very much.
So, but like I said, above the age of 40 is when things start to slow down. So, Mike's been slowing down for 26 years.
Yeah.
Gary hasn't started slowing down at all yet. So he's doing good. But these are some, like I said, some simple tests that we do at MRS Physical Therapy to identify if you are starting to lose power or lose strength. And then we obviously can, identify exercises to help you out with those areas.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you lifted weights, if I lifted weights the way I lifted weights maybe in my 40s, would that be any change in my, or would I still lose that in my 60s?
No, so this is reversible.
Mm-hmm.
So if you continued to lift weights, then you'd probably still be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be as strong as you were when you were 30
mm-hmm.
or 40, but you would not have lost as much would be my guess. And some of the keys are resistance training. Like I said before, it's more than just walking 10,000 steps a day. You have to really be doing resistance training. Some people get those stress balls and squeeze those because those will help strengthening. Things like that. There's simple things you can do while you're sitting and watching TV too. If you want to work on your upper body strength. But these are indicators of loss of age-related loss of body function with that sarcopenia score, the strength test, and what we're really looking at is change in power. And there's a couple other tests we can do here as well. Gary, I think you're going to do pretty well with this one as well, but I will demonstrate it and show it for our listeners at home. And this is a 30-second sit-to-stand test. So I brought my stopwatch here. And Gary, this is a very simple test. All you're doing is going, and if you're watching and you want to participate at home, you can do this as well. So what the test is I'm going to time you for 30 seconds and see how many times you come to a full stand and sit back down again. Anyone that's come into my clinic with any kind of gait dysfunction or weakness, they've done this test. This is one of my standard tests I do with all my patients because it's a really good indicator of the power in your legs that you have or you may be losing. Some people can't do this test at all because they've lost so much power in their hips and their knees. And again, it's not, if I just did a strength test, that wouldn't give me the same outcome. This is a power test and it's a functional test because you have to get up and out of a chair every day, right? So if you're at home and you're thinking, you know what, I have a tough time getting out of this couch or my recliner chair, then you might be starting to realize that you're getting so much strength loss or loss of power, it's impacting your functional ability to get out of a chair, which increases your risk of falling. And we all know when you fall, it increases your risk of getting injured and ending up in the hospital and just sends you down a bad trajectory, of course. But so this is a very simple test I do, and you can do this on your own at home as well. And all I'm doing is I'm having Gary go from a chair. He's standing up and sitting back down again as many times as he can in 30 seconds. Okay, so I have a stopwatch. I'm timing for 30 seconds. And the other key for this test, this is the most important one, is you can't use your arms to push up out of the chair. Your arms have to be across your shoulders. So this is a true measure of your leg power because your arms aren't assisting you at all. So I'm going to say go. Gary, when I say go, you're going to stand full stand up and sit back down again as many times as you can until I tell you to stop. Are you ready?
Leave your beer on the table.
And go. Okay, so Gary is standing up and sitting back down as many times as he can. And I have a timer going for 30 seconds. If you're doing this at home, make sure you're safe and you have, you're not losing your balance when you do it.
Look how focused he is.
I know, right?
So it's on 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, stop.
Okay, bring the option in.
So for a male, for that 30-second sit-to-stand test, you should be able to do that 17 times in 30 seconds. For a female, you should be able to do that 15 times in 30 seconds. So a little bit of difference between a man and a woman, not a lot difference, but somewhere between 15 and 17 times, you should be able to come to a full stand and sit back down in that 30-second time frame. If you were not able to do this, if you weren't able to meet that number, or maybe you weren't able to do it at all, then that's an indication that you're losing a significant amount of power in your legs due to possibly sarcopenia. Some people can't do it for an orthopedic reason. That happens. So if you have a bad hip or a bad knee, I have some patients that have the power and the strength, but they need a knee replacement, so they can't do it because their knee hurts so bad. That sometimes happens too. So those are some caveats, just like we talked about the sensation into the foot with calluses and things like that. There's always some caveats that we pay attention to that might be a different reason why you need physical therapy. But if you don't have any orthopedic things going on, meaning no pain or discomfort in your hips or knees, and you had difficulty with that, that means you've lost power in your legs to the level that we need to start working on that. I need to develop an exercise program for you. You can come to see us down at MRS Physical Therapy. You don't need a prescription from the doctor for most insurances. Just come and see me. I'll do an evaluation with you, and I'll put together an exercise program. And if you want to come down to our office at MRS Physical Therapy, that's in Bridgewater. It's right in the heart of Bridgewater inside Stone Point Landing. And that telephone number for MRS Physical Therapy is 724-728-7550. Or if you want to come see us in the Cranberry Physical Therapy office, that's on Route 19, right next to North Park Lounge. And that number is 724-591-8121. And either office you can come to. You don't need a doctor's script to do the evaluation. Most insurances, you don't need a doctor's script to do the treatment either. Feel free to give us a call, and we can help you identify any areas of weakness. And what I've showed today is just a couple examples of a couple tests. I do a full comprehensive hour evaluation. So for the point of time in radio, I just kind of pointed out a couple of simple ones that you can see and visualize, and to see how our testing can impact measuring your strength, your power, your body changes over time, your neuropathy, sensation changes. Our whole body slows down as we age, and we have tests to indicate, all those. We can test any area of your body that's slowing down as we age. So that's pretty cool.
I'm impressed that he wasn't breathing heavily and he didn't perspire in all that time.
Well, we got a young guy under 40. Again, Eddie would be sweating just thinking about that test.
All right, so we're going to take a break. It's the MRS Physical Therapy Hour with Dale Reckless.
In a recent live broadcast, Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy stated that if you are over 65 years old, the CDC recommends getting an annual fall risk screening.
Your vestibular system is similar, where it starts to slow down at the age of 40 to 50 years old. Your balance systems start to change at the age of 40 to 50 years old, and they keep getting worse. So it's not just something you do once, but you should do it annually, because your body continues to change year to year as you get older.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy, located in Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater, or Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. For more information, call Dale Reckless today at 724-728-7550 or visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
Got kids? Too much to do? No time to cook? Download the McDonald's app today and get dinner delivered straight to your door from DoorDash. McDonald's makes it easy for you and your family. Download the app today and get exclusive deals and rewards. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Pittsburgh Penguins hockey is back on Beaver County Radio.
Goal, right to the front right there. Carter, he scores! Big goal for Big Jeff!
Tune in all season long as the revamped Pittsburgh Penguins are on a quest to win their 6th Stanley Cup. Penguins hockey on Beaver County Radio is brought to you by St. Barnabas Healthcare System, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, Patriot Home Care, Forward RX, and Beaver County Radio.
Tune in to Beaver County Radio during spring training reports as the Pittsburgh Pirates are preparing for the 2025 season. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:50 a.m., one of the Pittsburgh Pirates broadcasters will join Frank Sparks on Driving in the Fast Lane to update you on what is happening in Bradenton as the Pirates prepare to throw you on the field in 2025. Spring training reports on Beaver County Radio are brought to you by the St. Barnabas Health System, Dr. C. Timothy Lipp, Patriot Home Care, and Beaver County Radio.
And it's the MRS Physical Therapy Hour. Dale Reckless is here the third Wednesday of every month, and it just never ceases to amaze the information that you have over the course. Are there things you're learning all the time? Has physical therapy changed from 20 years ago to where we are today?
Oh, absolutely. There's things that I do in my practice every day that I did not learn in college because the technology and the awareness was not there when I graduated. I graduated from college in 1989, so I've been a PT for almost 36 years. And there's things that was not taught in college because I didn't learn in college because it wasn't in awareness of these techniques and things that help people. So as a physical therapist, you have to continue to learn. You have to continue to grow. And I do hours and hours of continuing education every year to learn what the most updated and best techniques are, and that's what keeps us ahead of the curve with MRS physical therapy, I think, too. Yeah, and were there things that were done 20 years ago that nowadays they say, no, we shouldn't be doing it that way? We should. Yeah, absolutely. Just as recently as 2014, 2015, there were some papers that came out specific to vestibular rehab that said, you don't really need to do this anymore. You should be doing it this way, and we've adapted. And I see vestibular patients every day, so it's a big part of my practice. People that are dizzy and things like that. You really have to keep on top of the literature and the research and the science. Stay ahead of the game. And these things change. We were talking about aging quite a bit today, from your 30s to your 70s. When you're treating patients, perhaps when they're 10 years older, when they're teens, as opposed to when they're in their late teens or 20s. Yeah, all the way up until senior citizens. Yeah, there's a lot of differences in how we treat a younger individual versus an older individual, how we prescribe the exercises, what exercises need to be prescribed, and things you need to pay attention to. So this is a statistic that really shocked me when I was doing my research for the show today, is that for cycling, and I was kind of hoping Eddie was here because I want to talk to him about it, but because I know he's into cycling, but for those that continue to cycle over the age of 65, compared to a younger individual, you have a 4 times increased likelihood of dying being a cycler over the age of 65. If you're a cycler over the age of 75, you have a 6 times increased likelihood of dying from bicycling than a younger individual. And so the question then is, well, why is this happening? And some of the research shows it's our body changes over the course of time that we haven't adapted to. So things like losing your neck range of motion as you age. Many people realize as you drive, you lose that neck range of motion. And if you cycle, you need to really have your head on a swivel to see cars coming, and you need to have that neck range of motion to be safe when you're bicycling. But also reaction time is important too. I've had family members that have wrecked their bikes, and they were a lot younger. But as you age and you lose that reaction time, you're not as likely to be able to stabilize yourself and to avoid an accident. So our body does change significantly, and if we're not aware of how our body changes, it could be significant things that lead to dying, from your activity level. So it's something to pay attention to, and something we take seriously at MRS Physical Therapy by doing all this testing, by testing out, whether you have the muscle loss, the sarcopenia, whether you have the peripheral neuropathy, the sensory loss, whether you have the timing, your loss of coordination, things like that. So it's people think of physical therapy, well, that's strength and flexibility, which it is, but there's also a lot more than that we need to look at to make sure you're safe and doing the activities that you want to do and continue with as you age. Oh, so you got to be careful with cycling out there. Yeah. Because you're all hunched over. You're in a kind of an awkward position to begin with. Yeah, and I think most people have finally adapted to wearing helmets, but that was a long time coming where still people go out there and like, I'm just on my mountain bike in the back trail, I don't need a helmet. Then they hit a stick or a rock and they tumble over, and it can have some serious injury if you don't have a helmet on. So there's things you need to pay attention to. You're not 16 anymore. Number one, injuries are going to occur, and you're not going to bounce back as quickly either. That's something that happens as we age too. So if you're a golfer or a tennis player or a pickleball player, and you go out there, you have increased likelihood of low back injury and rotator cuff injuries because your tissue is different now than it was when you're in your 20s and 30s. It's not as it doesn't stretch as much. So think about like an old rubber band that, you pull to put on something and it snaps. That's all happened to us, right? Because it's kind of dry rotted over time. That's kind of what happens to our rotator cuff muscles. They've kind of lost their elasticity, and then eventually you stress them too much and they snap and they tear, and then you're ending up, as a 60, 70-year-old getting rotator cuff surgery. And we've seen an increased number of people that have had ACL tears as they age and rotator cuff tears as they age, because we're more active as we're getting older, but we've lost some of the flexibility and extensibility of our tissue. But the good news is we can help repair all those things at MRS Physical Therapy.
So consider yourself drying and rotting. Basically, how can people get in touch with you? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so
MRS?
2 clinics, MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater. That's right in the heart of Bridgewater, inside of Stone Point Landing. That number is 724-728-7550. Or Cranberry Physical Therapy, which is on Route 19, right next to North Park Lounge. That number is 724-591-8121. You can check out our website, mrsphysicaltherapy.com. It has a lot of great information. If you want to just email me with a question, you can email me at d.reckless@mrsphysicaltherapy.com. And remember, you don't need a script to come see us.
Great to see you again, Dale.
Good to see you too, Mike.
Thanks
Thanks for hosting.
Dale Reckless, the MRS Physical Therapy Hour on Beaver County Radio.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.